Hi, welcome to the video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy, and comment your thoughts and opinions on the stories. Let's get started. Am I the antagonist for not letting my ex come in cause she can't pay her bills? I, 32 male, have divorced my wife 2 years ago. We had 2 children together, 3 years old and a 5 years old. We broke up because she cheated on me with a coworker of hers and started doing illegal substances. Few weeks ago I heard from friends she had a baby with the guy she cheated on me with. I didn't care. I have the kids full time and they don't want to see their mom. Didn't force them. My kids were watching a movie when her baby and fiancé came to my door at 8 p.m. They told me if they can stay cause they can't afford heating. I told them in the nicest way possible, why not go to your parents' house? She said they both refused. I told them I can't help them. She started calling my kids to come to the door. I told them to go in the kitchen quickly and wait for me to get them snacks. She said I can't do that to her kids. I told her good night and shut the door. Her fiancé was banging on my window for a few minutes while I was standing on the other side. Luckily my kids couldn't hear the commotion. Told some friends at work what they did. Some said I was the asshole, some saying I could have been a little nicer and let them stay for a bit, but few saying I was in the right. Stressing out a little bit from this. AITA. Now for the top comments. NTA. You are under no obligation to help this person. They haven't seen these kids since the end. So it's obvious she was just trying to leverage them. Let the new baby daddy find the solution. Their issues are not your problem. I can't help but think how embarrassing and pathetic these two are. Especially the baby daddy. I mean, looking for help from your cheating GF's ex-husband? The husband whose wife you screwed while she was still his wife. The nerve and absolute absence of decency. It sucks a baby is stuck with these parents. Beautified opened the door to something like this. I think I might laugh involuntarily, cause it's just so ridiculous. NTA, you have no reason to let her stay, and if you let them in, getting rid of them would probably turn into a fiasco. You made the right choice. NTA, as a responsible parent, you can't knowingly expose your children to people you know are drug addicts. Besides putting your children at risk of physical harm, it would be devastating for your children to see their mother in such a state. I agree with other commenters that once settled inside they are unlikely to leave without causing a commotion and stealing things they can sell to get money for drugs. Homeless shelters and social services will prioritize getting them services because they have a baby and are substance abusers. Most likely they will be separated from their baby until they complete drug treatment and have stable housing, which would be in the best interest of the child. Am I the antagonist for kicking my husband out of the room until I give birth to our son? So I, 25F, gave birth to our son almost a month ago. My husband, 27 male, is still pissed. My contractions were way more painful than I was expecting. The nurse helping me refused to give me an epidural, so it was only when I was moved to the actual labor room when a new nurse finally relieved some of the pain. And throughout all of this my husband was still on his way. Half an hour passes, and after they fully settle me in, he arrives and brought me some flowers. While I was glad he got me gifts, I would have preferred he got there earlier, but the moment passed, so I just forgot about it. He was joking around to try and make me feel better, and for most of my hours there it worked. After a while I was 8 centimeters and felt the need to push, but the nurses said I wasn't ready yet, so I had to consciously keep my body from pushing. This was the most hair-ripping, excruciating pain I have ever experienced. My husband went on, but after a while I said that he should stop. It was getting annoying and that I just wanted verbal encouragement. He loosely did it, but made a whole joke out of it, like holding my hand, but quickly making it into a dog and making it bark, or stroking my arm, commenting on how I'm soft like a marshmallow. I told him multiple times to quit it and how he was stressing and annoying me, but it never stopped. And within that time I went from 8 centimeters to 10 centimeters. So as the nurses got the doctor, I told him to stop and that if he continued to stress me out, that I would ask him to be removed from the room until our son arrived. He agrees and the doctor came. Everything was ready. Pushing started and my husband decides, yeah, spread your legs farther than that. You got this was appropriate. With my stress being at an all-time high, I lost it. I started screaming for him to leave, and since I was obviously in distress the staff helped get him out. The birth went smoothly, but unfortunately, my peace was short-lived. While our son was being cleaned up I was moved to a recovery room and my husband went off on me as soon as he came in. He was telling me that I was a bitch for not letting him see his son come into this world and that I was overacting since all he was trying to do was cheer me up, and I told him that I clearly said he was stressing me and I warned him of what was going to happen. He loses it. He starts screaming that it's unfair, that he can never have that moment back, and how the 9 months were not worth this experience. Security removed him from the hospital altogether since he was screaming, and all I got the 3 days I spent in the recovery room were pissed off texts just repeating what he said, but in different words. Ever since our son and I got home has been ignoring both of us. He has done nothing for us so this whole month. Not even change his diaper. I tried getting him to talk but silence. Has staying at his friend's house and him at a loss. Am I the antagonist? Now for the top comments. NTA. There is a time and a place for humor and jokes, and the moment you told him what you needed was the moment he should have stopped. At the end of the day, your safety and baby's safety is most important, and keeping you as stress-free as possible was the top priority. Humiliating you and refusing to give you the support you needed was one thing, but screaming at you in recovery and ignoring you and the baby is just wrong. His behavior is very concerning. Is there someone else you can stay with for a while? He needs to get some help. Agreed. It's total misogyny too. First he ignores her immense pain and pleads for him to stop with the jokes and support her instead. Even mocking her sexually as she's in the most vulnerable stage of all. Pushing the baby out. Then has the gall to call her a bitch for being upset. And now he's gaslighting her while ignoring the baby? This man is an abuser. Op needs to get out before it gets even worse. You are not the asshole. You warned him multiple times and he didn't listen. What he did was inappropriate and disrespectful. Yelling at you when you'd just given birth is, at the very least, bordering on verbal abuse, and the fact that it was so bad that he was removed by security for screaming cements that. Ignoring you and your son is also incredibly concerning behavior. I would get out. Major red flags. It doesn't sound like he respects you, and it doesn't sound like that is something that's going to change. NTA. I hope you get the help you need. If there's anyone else you can stay with, or get help from family or friends, I would encourage it. Yeah. Especially that those 9 months weren't worth it, because he got rightfully kicked out. Like WTF. Who says that? Who even thinks that? Congratulations. And I hope you and Bob are doing fine. Totally not the a-hole. You were literally going through the transition state of labor, where every woman loses her mind. And he wants to throw a tantrum? Like WTF. Are you sure you want to raise 2 babies? The adult you're the a-hole one sounds more exhausting than the newborn. Wibta for filing a restraining order on my neighbors. I, 28F, moved back to my home state to take care of my grandparents' home when they moved into an assisted living apartment a few months ago. Shortly after moving, both of them passed away due to illness. The home was put into my stepdad's name long before their deaths due to some shady people stole from them while they were alive. Some of these shady people are my neighbors. Let's call them Chad and his wife Karen. They are both in their late 60s, early 70s. They tried to convince my grandfather, who had dementia, to sell, knowing he was not in the right mind. The home was not in my grandmother's and dad's name, so it fell through. So skip to me moving in and everything is fine. I live in a large country neighborhood where the closest grocery store is 45 minutes either way. It's by a lake and had a beautiful view of the forest. I say had because Chad cut down every tree he could get his hands on, even some of ours, while no one lived here. From the day I moved in they both started coming over and asking to buy. It's not in my name yet. I told him we were not selling. Well, it turned into him asking me to almost every day for 2 months or any time he saw me, until I asked him to leave me alone as we were not selling out of the family. I work full time from home 45 to 50 hours a week. Since they have figured out my schedule, they have been riding their lawnmower over and leaving it on with no one there next to the porch on or past the property line. They have also let their dogs free in the front yard, but complains when mine are out. Ride their lawnmower like a 4-wheeler up and down the property line. Right there for wheeler by my bedroom window, no matter what time it is. Sit by my window way after the sun has gone down and yell at each other or play loud music. Told me to just sell because it's dangerous for a single woman to live alone in the country in a large house by myself. And much worse, they are also trying to buy the land on the other side of the home to basically try and force my hand. Today he was throwing some rusty metal rods on my property right outside of the porch. My office is all windows and attached to the partial wraparound porch, so I could see him clearly. I opened the window and asked nicely for him not to dump on the property, and he got irate and cursed at me and made some threats. My cameras have caught that and have caught most of these exchanges and the trespassing. I'm really considering filing a restraining order. I have already spoken with the sheriff who says with my evidence my request could very well be granted. Would I be the asshole if I filed for a restraining order? Also, due to financial reasons I cannot put up a privacy fence at this time as I'm still working on my budget, as I went from a small amount of rent in another state to paying for a whole house. I'm saving for it though. Now for the top comments. NTA. This would be a smart move. Get the restraining order, and when they violate it, have them arrested and charged. Every time. Yes op. Get a restraining order and have them charged every time they violate it. Keep those cameras rolling too. Also, look into tree law. If they cut down your trees, depending on your area's laws, they could owe you up to thousands per tree. Not the a-hole and good luck. They sound horrible. NTA. They are trying to bully you into giving them their way. I hate to think what your grandparents went through when they lived there from these terrible people. They were super friendly with them, so they could try to buy the house. They went as far as offering to help and coming into the home constantly. They even talked to them about upgrade they could do for them from what I was told. In reality it was them planning to make changes thinking they were going to snatch it up. My dad put his name on the home when he caught wind of it. They got as far as signing the papers until it was stopped because it was not in my grandfather's name, but my grandmother's and my stepdad's. Am I the antagonist for eating my girlfriend's leftover pizza? I, 27 male, recently moved in with my girlfriend, 25F. We've been together for a couple of years now. I work the swing shift as a corrections officer at a jail and I don't get home until a little after 3 AM. I also have a mix of weekdays and weekends off. She works a more traditional Monday through Friday 9-5 schedule. The other night, when I came home from work, it had been a particularly chaotic night. I hadn't had a chance to eat, and I was starving. My girlfriend was fast asleep. I had the next day off, but she had to work. I figured on making myself a sandwich or maybe some ramen noodles, and then going to bed. But when I look in the refrigerator I saw a pizza box. I looked and saw that there were 4 slices of pizza left. I just figured, well, that was sweet of her. She ordered more pizza than she could eat, so that I would have something to eat when I got home. So I warmed up 3 of the slices, watched an episode of Mr. Kef on Hulu while I ate them, and then went to bed. I woke up a little before noon the next day to a text message from my girlfriend, telling me that I was an inconsiderate ass for eating her pizza. She said that she had intended the rest of the pizza to be her breakfast and lunch for the next day. I texted back that I was sorry, but that she should have put a note on the pizza box or texted me to let me know if she didn't want me to eat it. I also said that if she's going to order food she should order enough for both of us, as I would do the same for her. The way I see it, we live together now, so food in the refrigerator is up for grabs, but she's still kind of mad at me, thinking that I was presumptuous in eating her pizza. Am I the antagonist? Now for the top comments. Info: how often have you ordered extra food when you were home alone, so she would have leftovers when she got home? Is this something you've agreed to do as a couple? It's only come up once. I had the day off and she got stuck working late. I ordered some Chinese food for myself and I added an order of Szechuan beef for her to eat when she got home, because I know that's her favorite. We haven't agreed to anything as a couple in terms of this, though, admittedly. Now that's the teething problems that come with moving in together. You now know you view leftovers differently and can ensure it doesn't happen again. This is the most sane comment in this thread, I swear. Half these people are talking like they've never even had families, let alone a romantic relationship. This is something solved with communication and is something every single person will want to handle differently. Am I the antagonist for bullying my cousin? My F17 older cousin, Nora, F26, is getting married. A few weeks ago we were all talking about what we are gonna wear for her wedding, and one of my cousins, Sarah, F15, showed us a picture of her dress. It was a wedding dress. It was white, long, and basically a typical wedding dress. Everyone tried talking to her, asking her to please not to wear it, but she wouldn't listen. Her parents also took her side. For the next few days everyone tried to convince them to get another dress, but they refused. As she is the youngest member of our family, she gets away with pretty much everything. So they finally gave up and decided to let her wear it, but Nora was very upset. She didn't want to make drama, especially because no one was on her side anymore, so me and my other cousins decided to fix this. Last night when our family gathered together, we all started talking in a way we knew Sarah could hear us, and we mocked her dress and made fun of her for wearing a wedding dress at someone else's wedding. The whole time we were laughing and mocking her until she had tears in her eyes and told her parents she doesn't want to wear it anymore. She went home, but texted me and told me I'm enough for doing this to her and bullying her. I kinda feel like an but I think I was justified, so am I the antagonist? Now for the top comments. NTA, you saved her from huge public humiliation at the wedding. Not one of the groom's family or any of their friends would have let that slide. Cue her being escorted out, even insulted and mocked for years to come. Right? If she thought the comments her cousins made were mean, then she would have been for an even worse surprise if she'd actually worn the dress. NTA, you tried to fix the problem with the proper route. That didn't work, so you found a custom tailored solution. NTA, I think you and others clearly give warning multiple times. She and her parents didn't listen. And honestly, Nora is probably do not want to cause drama by not inviting them. Since direct approach was ineffective, you used alternate method, which was, according to your own word, gossiping about actual truth. One that everyone else told not to do, because it's like the most well-known taboo in wedding. I don't think that goes far enough to even give everyone sucks here rating. Am I the antagonist for not telling my family that I have a child? My wife and I live across the country from my family, and we only visit for weddings, funerals and other big family related events. Both my wife and I are deaf. I've never been close with anyone in my family, my grandparents, cousins, aunts, uncles, brother and father, because they never bothered to look past my disability. Growing up they only did the bare minimum, fed me, clothed me, made small talk, but they never actually tried to get to know me or do anything beyond that. They didn't even learn sign language for me. I can talk and read lips, but I'm often left out of their conversations. They never bothered to get to know my wife either. They think that we are both stupid and incapable of anything just because we can't hear. We are in our 30s, and they still treat us like children. We hate it. Especially my wife, who has purposefully not visited them since 2017. I have a successful career, and so does my wife, and we've been completely on our own since college. We have a healthy bank account, we travel a lot, and we are ready to buy a nice house, but we are waiting for the housing market to cool down. Despite all that, my family thinks that my wife's family takes care of us, i.e., help out financially, manage our finances, and walk us through everyday tasks like buying groceries or paying bills. They just won't believe that we are intelligent and perfectly capable people who have done well for ourselves all on our own. My older brother is not deaf, and he's very close with my whole family. He doesn't have his life together. He works odd jobs. He has unstable relationships, and he regularly mooches off people. Yet my family still reveres him as a smart and capable person. He's a narcissist who has always treated me poorly, and my family enables his bad behavior. That's another reason I keep them at arm's length. I hope I've given enough context. So now on to the issue. My wife and I have a 2-year-old daughter. When my wife was pregnant, we decided that we didn't want any of my family in our daughter's life. It wouldn't be healthy for her to be around people who constantly disrespect her parents. And if she turned out deaf, she didn't. They wouldn't treat her with respect either. No one in my family keeps in touch with me anyway, so I didn't see a reason to volunteer any information to them. So I never told them about my daughter. We keep her off social media and I visited them only once since she was born. But she stayed home with my wife. My brother somehow found out about my daughter's existence a few weeks ago. The whole family is very upset. They blamed my wife because they think that she controls me, which is not true at all. They accused me of denying my daughter a family that cold helped raise her in many different ways. They may have a point. I'm starting to wonder if my wife and I are selfish for keeping our daughter from a big family full of cousins her age because we have our own hang-ups about them. Now for the top comments. NTA, they wouldn't be a family that cold helped raise her, but they'd try to take over since she is hearing and you aren't, and therefore incapable from their perspective. Keep your distance. Enjoy your life and your family, and keep protecting your child from them. My wife said the same thing. I think that's a very good point. Thank you. NTA, I think you made the right decision. And they don't even seem worth keeping in contact with at all. I'm struggling to understand how they're so dense they don't realize you're a smart and capable person. Often I think people get the view that deaf people are mentally deficient because they never met any, but they have known you your whole life and still don't get it, even with the perfect comparison of your brother. Strange. It is strange. They've known me all my life, but they still didn't know me. They never bothered to have a conversation with me beyond house school. Keep up the good work. So they never got to find out how I think, my level of intelligence, and all that. They know that I'm good with my hands because I used to build stuff with my grandpa all the time, but they don't equate that to actual intelligence. When I was accepted into college, which was a pretty decent school, but not Ivy League, they all asked me if I was sure I could hack it. They said that I got in because of affirmative action and they were so sure I'd flunk out. When I graduated, my aunt made a comment about my brother or dad doing all my homework for me. She said she was joking, but I don't believe that. I think that my dad may have some idea of my intelligence and capabilities, but he never encouraged me or stood up for me. He's all about my brother. In his eyes, my brother is the abled one, so he would be the one to succeed, and he'd be the one to make our little family look good. Funnily enough, the opposite happened. Growing up, he told me that I would always live with him because I couldn't make it on my own, and I think that made me all the more determined to move out as soon as I graduated college. And my brother is 38, and he still lives with my dad. Everything they thought I would be, my brother became. Everything they thought my brother would be, I became. Life is funny sometimes. NTA, you're right about your family. Do you really want them convincing your child you are incapable before she knows the difference? Before she can know otherwise and tell them so?